Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to fly the Boeing 737-800. We're going to be doing these flights just like our previous tutorial. We're going to be flying from Togo to Lagos. If you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe. My next tutorial video is going to be on the Citation X. I'm going to be flying the Citation X. I'll be teaching you how to fly that aircraft from Ikoda and Dark State to take off, cruise and landing. I have a fan who wants me to do that particular tutorial. So for you, make sure you don't miss out. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on that tutorial. Now for this aircraft, Boeing 737, we are going to be starting from a cold and dark state like this. As you can see, all systems are off. Now the first thing you want to do is to turn on your battery switch. Turn on your battery switch like that. Turn on your secondary power cover. Sorry, your standby battery. Turn on your standby battery. Turn on your ground power. Now once you've done these three things, go ahead and turn on your APU. Move the APU starter to start and move it again to start the APU. This knob here is going to start moving. There you go, the APU is starting up. Now we're going to turn on the logo lights and the wing inspection lights. Logo lights and wing inspection lights. Now we're going to see an illumination here. A light here is going to illuminate, indicating that the APU is now available. And once your APU is available, you will turn on your APU generator. That's the APU starting up right there. Alright, here we go. That's the light I talked about. Turn on your APU generator. Turn off your ground power. Now you can turn off your ground power. Now go ahead and turn on your APU bleed. That's your APU bleed there. You turn it on. Now we are going to move this knob here to battery. The DC power indicator, move it to battery. The AC power indicator, move it to APU generator. And turn on your window heat. Just turn on your window heat. That is all for now. So next we're going to run our tests. Our first test is going to be the AP disconnect test. It's supposed to make a sound. I don't know why it's not making a sound. It's supposed to make a sound there. Next test is the fire test. There you go. That's the fire test. And then the next test is the stall warning test. That's basically the three tests we have for this aircraft, like the basic ones we have for this aircraft. Now we are going to set up our FMC. That's the next thing we're going to do. Set up your FMC. Now this is the first phase you're going to see when you start up your aircraft. So you're going to clear this message, update navigation data out of date. You're going to clear this message, go straight to your route page here. Now you can see that our origin airport is already indicated because we started off from an airport, which is Lome International Airport. We are flying to Lagos for this tutorial. So we're going to do Delta November Mike Mike. Delta November Mike Mike is the ACAIO code for Lagos International Airport. If you want to do any flights in Explain Mobile, make sure you know the Akayo code for your departure airport and for your arrival airport. Just like I said in my previous tutorial of the Airbus A330. So now Hotel November Mike insert that for your destination airport. For your flight number, I'm using KLM library here, so I'm going to do KLM 234. Don't forget you can do any number you want, just input any random number and then execute. Alright, the next we're going to go to the VNAV. You can click this button here, or you can just go to this climb here. It takes you to the same page. Now active VNAV climb is 250/10,000. That means that at 10,000 feet and below, the aircraft is going to maintain a speed of 250 knots. Now I like to include 180/5,000. It's not important to input that, but I just like to input it so in case I forget to reduce my speed. Now my transition altitude, I'm going to do 3,500 for the transition altitude. Now we're going to go to the next page, which is VNAV cruise. For our cruise, I'm going to do flight level 230. It's a very short distance, so we're going to be flying at 23,000 feet. Now go to the next page. The next page is a VNAV descent. There's nothing to do here. Now the next page here is going to show you your flight routes, your waypoints, but it's not showing right now because you've not imputed your departure and arrival runways and your SID, your seed. So to do that, go to departure arrival here, select departure. Now for this airport, we're going to depart with runway 04, and our departure seed is going to be Alpha Mike Sierra Oscar 1 November. That's the first waypoint, that's the first seed on the list here. Select that and execute. Now next you're going to go back to the departure arrival index, select the arrival airport, DNMM arrival, select that. Our arrival runway is going to be ILS 18 right. Make sure you are selecting ILS, you're not selecting VDM like the second runway on the list there. We are selecting the fourth one, ILS 18 right. And we are going to be arriving, our arrival seat is going to be Tango Yankee Echo 1 November. Our arrival star, Tango Yankee Echo 1 November. Execute that. And that's all for the departure arrival. Now when you come back to your next page, you can see that your flight routes is now indicated, our waypoints. If you go to the next page, you can see everything. Now we have discontinuity. We're going to clear this discontinuity. Now clearing discontinuity for the Boeing is different from the Airbus. For the Boeing, we're going to select a waypoint right after the discontinuity. Now the waypoint next to the discontinuity here is Tango Yankee Echo. I'll select that waypoint and then I'll select the discontinuity. Once you select like that, you execute. We still have another discontinuity here. Select a waypoint next to it. The waypoint you're selecting has to be after the discontinuity, not before. The waypoint next here is C118 right. Select that. Then come back to the discontinuity and select the discontinuity and execute. And as you can see, all discontinuities has been cleared like that. Now the next thing, if you go to your progress page, you can see that your arrival airport is already indicated to be in 185 knots from here, and our top of descent is already indicated, and that's that for the FMC. Alright, next we are going to set up our autopilot. Now first of all, we're going to bring this barometer to 0000. This is a captain barometer. I'm just going to make sure I have 00 altitude here. We are on ground, so we should be on 00 altitude. Okay, there we go. It's now showing 0000. Just make sure you have it like that. Now next, you're going to turn on your flight director. Just move up the knob, turn on your auto throttle. Now for our speed, we're going to move this speed to 300 knots. I'm going to move it to 300 knots for our cruise. You don't have to worry about it. The autopilot is actually going to manage our speed for us during the flight. Now for our heading, we're going to indicate our runway heading. To see your runway heading, just come to your FMC here. You can see runway 04. We have a heading of 220 degrees on right on top of the runway. So we're going to do for our heading is we're going to do 220. We're going to do 220. There we go. And our altitude, according to what we have in the FMC, is 23,000 feet. Oh, that's fast. 23,000 feet. And now at this point, we're going to select LNAV. NAV controls your speed and VNAV controls your altitude. So um we're going to be using the VNAV when we take off, not now. After takeoff, we're going to indicate the VNAV, and then we're also going to we're going to turn on the autopilot. Alright, that's that. The next thing we're going to do now is to push back. Going to push back right because our runway is to the left. That is our pushback jock. Alright, now we're going to release our parking brakes. This is our parking brake here. Just click this knob here, and the parking brake is released. The pushback is ongoing. Now for our engine start, we are going to start with turning on the fuel pumps for the center engine, engine 1 and engine 2. Turn on your electric pumps and your hydraulic pumps. Now normally we're supposed to just go ahead and start, but this aircraft for this sim does not start without turning on the engine bleed. So I'm gonna have to turn on the engine 2 bleed. Just turn on your engine 2 bleed. Move this engine 2 knob to ground. You can see we have starter 2 here. Move it to ground like this. Once it's on ground, then move your engine mixture 2, mixture engine 2. Just move it up like that. And our engine is going to start. Our engine 2 is going to start. As you can see, it's already rolling. It's as simple as that. Normally, we are not supposed to turn on the engine bleed before turning on the engine. But if you go ahead and turn on the engine without the bleed, the engine is not going to start. That is something X-Plane Mobile will have to fix in their upcoming updates, because that's not the normal startup procedure. Okay, we have our engine 2 started. Now for our engine 1, turn on the engine bleed, the APU bleed. Sorry, the engine bleed for engine 1. Move the starter switch to ground and move the engine 1 mixture up. And our engine 1 is going to start as well. There we go. Our engine 1 is starting up. Now the click sound you're hearing is the knob actually going back to ground. Once you move to ground and move the mixture up, the knob here is going to automatically move back to auto. Our pushback is concluded. Alright, so now that our engines are on, go ahead and turn on your engine 1 and 2 generators, like that. Once your generators are on, turn off the APU generator, turn off the APU bleed, and now you can turn off your APU. Just move the APU starter to off, like that. Now we're supposed to turn on our beacon lights by now. Before your engine starts, make sure you turn on your beacon lights. I forgot to do that. Turn on your, okay, this strobe light is for takeoff. You can now turn on your wing inspection, turn off your wing inspection lights. Now for our taxi checklist, turn on your fasten seatbelt sign. Turn on your fasten seatbelt sign. Now we're going to do our flight controls checked. We're going to do full lefts, full rights, full up, full down, rudder left and rudder right. This is not important actually. We just want to do something a little bit realistic. Our altitude here, we are going to move this to our cruise altitude of 23,000 feet. Move it to 23,000 feet like that. Now next, just move your auto brakes. This is the auto brakes button here. Move it to max. We're currently doing our taxi checklist. Move your auto brakes to max. Set up your flaps. We're going to be taking off with flaps of 5 degrees. Flaps of 5 degrees, or let's take off with flaps of, okay, 5 degrees is fine. Let's just do 5 degrees. And our seatbelt sign is already turned on. Now let's turn on our taxi lights. um Sorry, these are taxi lights here. Turn on your taxi lights. Our AP is already off. Now we are ready for taxi. Now these aircrafts can actually move on idle speed. The aircrafts can move on idle speed, so just release your parking brakes and the aircraft will be on the go. If you have any questions, make sure you drop your questions in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe guys, because I'll be doing a lot of tutorials on this particular scene. If you don't want to miss out on my tutorials, make sure you click the subscribe button. Alright, this is our holding point runway. We're going to turn on all our runway lights like that. Turn off your taxi lights. Our seatbelt sign is already on. Now our trim is already moved, is already at takeoff trim, but we're going to move it to up to 10 degrees. Okay, the indication here is not moving. I just leave it like that. You're supposed to move the trim settings to takeoff, but just you can just keep that. It's not important. The auto throttle will automatically adjust the trim as we move on the flight. As the flight is ongoing, the auto throttle will be doing its thing. All right, let's go ahead and take off. Now I'm going to set up the time for the flight. You can actually check how long you've been in the air with this aircraft. To do that, you just have to click this button, right here. Just click on that CMR, and it's going to start. The clock is going to start reading. Now for your takeoff, you can just take off with about let's do 8 degrees for our flaps. Let's do 8 degrees. Let's do 8 degrees. Then you can take off with about 70 to 80% of your thrust. Make sure you don't do 100% so that you don't roll on the runway. Make sure you don't do 100%. 50 to 80% is fine. Alright, here we go. Make sure you're using the rudder to turn the nose wheel so you stay on the center line, just like I'm doing. Now you can turn on your VNAV and your autopilot. Gear up. Alright, I hope that fixed it. The VNAV and the LNAV is supposed to be eliminated together with your autopilot. Just make sure that is actually eliminated. Now let's take up our flaps to about 3 degrees. I'm currently at 6,000 feet. Flaps up. Now when you look at your display here, you can see FMC speed. That tells you that the FMC, the autopilot, is managing your speed. You can see LNAV is eliminated there, and the VNAV speed. So the VNAV is taking care of our speed and our altitude, while the LNAV is doing the navigation for us. I hope I'm correct. So just make sure you have these indications here like this. Now the aircraft is going to keep turning left and right just to follow the departure procedure. Everything looks good. At 10,000 feet, which is right here, we are going to turn off our landing lights. Turn off all your landing lights. Sorry. Turn off the runway lights. And you can turn off the seatbelt sign. The logo light is supposed to be on during takeoff. I hope this tutorial will be helpful for you all, guys. So we are currently at 11,000 feet. We should be arriving at Lagos Airport in about 40 minutes. I already set a timer, so we're going to see exactly how long the flight is going to take. Now, if you go to your progress page, you can see that we currently have 166 knots away, 166 nautical miles away from our destination, and our top of descent is in 79 nautical miles. So as the flight is ongoing, it will keep going down. If you want to know how your current stage of the flight, you can just come back to the progress page, and you will see the distance left for your destination and your top of descent. The leg page will show you your waypoints, your correct waypoints. The display here shows that we are heading towards Alpha Mike Sierra Oscar November, and we should be there in 6 nautical miles. That is about 1 minute away. What other thing do we need to know in the display? This is your heading. The 1112 here is your heading, and this is your ground speed and your takeoff speed, and this is the wind direction, 002 degrees over 10. That is your wind direction. The 3,450, 500 you're seeing here is the rate of climb. When we start descending, it's going to start heading down, and you also see your rate of descent. Okay, everything is looking good. The VNAV going off earlier, I think it was just a bug. I mean, I turned it on and suddenly it went off. I had to turn off the flight director and on it again. And I hope we're not going to have any other bugs for this flight. Now we're currently at our cruise level. You can see that the aircraft has leveled up and is no longer gaining altitude. As far as you have your LNAV and VNAV eliminated like that, it's definitely going to manage your altitude, your descent. For this aircraft, you don't have to manually start your descent. It's going to start automatically. All you need to do is to input the command in the FMC, just like we did in the tutorial we did earlier. The altitude hold button automatically illuminates here when the aircraft reaches the cruise level. Now let's check out our progress. Our top of descent is in 32 nautical miles from now, and for our destination we are about 118 nautical miles away. So I'm just going to pause the video till we get to our top of descent. Alright, so this is currently our top of descent. We are just 1 nautical miles away. You will see that the aircraft will automatically start descending. You don't actually need to do anything. The aircraft is going to start descending automatically. All you have to do is to reduce the speed here, the altitude I mean. Reduce your altitude to your transition altitude of 3,500, just like we have in the FMC. Just reduce the altitude like that, and the aircraft will start descending. Now, as the aircraft is descending, it's going to be managing the speed. Currently, we are at the aircraft is supposed to be at 280 nautical. They are at 280 knots. We are about 18 minutes into the flight. Now we are heading to a waypoint called Tango Yankee Echo, and I think from after that waypoint, we're going to start lining up with the runway. This aircraft is actually very easy to fly. Once you get to 10,000 feet, we're going to start turning on the lights, the landing lights. Now, mind you, for your course, you can see we have 000. We're not supposed to have 000. I think your course is supposed to be the same figure with your heading, but the course adjustment here is really slow. It's hard to get to figures, so that's why I don't bother, because I don't think it's quite important. But if you can, make sure your course is the same figure with your heading. I'm currently at 17,000 feet. Alright guys, we are about 10,000 feet away from our destination, 10,500. And as you can see on our display here, that's our arrival airport. We are already close. And on our progress page, you can see the top of this range is no longer there. We just have the destination airport, which is in 44 nautical miles. Now we are currently at 10,000 feet. At 10,000 feet, we are going to turn on all our landing lights. Make sure you turn on your landing lights like this. Turn on all your landing lights. For your descent, we were supposed to do this earlier. Make sure you do it when you start your descent. You can turn on your engine icing, engine one and two icing. It's not important, but just to be a bit more realistic with the flight. Make sure you keep watching so you know exactly how we are going to be landing our aircraft. Now as you can see, just like we imputed in our FMC, below 10,000, 240 or 250 nautical miles. That is exactly what the aircraft is doing. And below 5,000 is going to be at least 180 nautical miles. But once we face the runway, we are going to manage our speed manually. But to manage your speed manually, you have to be on the approach mode. We are 36 nautical miles away. We are 29 nautical miles away from our destination. At this point, make sure your seatbelt sign is on. Your seatbelt sign should be on at 10,000 feet. Now we're going to set our auto brakes. We're not going to, it's not going to be at max. We're going to put it at 2 or even 1. Let's put it at 1 because we don't want the aircraft to stop too fast. Now we're going to set our flaps. Let's start with flaps 3, 3 degrees. At this point, you should start adjusting your flaps at 20, 25 nautical miles. Now we're on 5,000 feet. Let's go flaps 8 degrees. You can see according to what we have in our FMC, below 5,000 feet, 180 nautical miles, the aircraft is adjusting to that. That is our altitude climb. I told you altitude climbs makes a sound when you're 1,000 feet away from your imputed altitude, where it's 4,400 feet and we have 3,500 feet. Okay, now we are turning to the runway. Now we are going to change this to here to ILS or approach, the approach mode, so that you can see the runway. But you can still, if you like, you can leave it there, but you can still leave it at the flight plan. I like to leave it at the flight plan. Now we are currently facing the runway and the aircraft is maintaining our transition altitude of 3,500 feet. Now I'm going to hit the approach button like that, and then I'm going to turn off VNAV. Now once our VNAV is on, you can manually manage your speed. Let's fly at a speed of 160 nautical miles. Our approach seems not to be functioning properly. Now once the approach is on, we are supposed to have the glide slope. The glide slope is supposed to automatically start coming up here. Let's increase the speed to 180 knots. Our heading is 181. Let's increase more flaps. I'm not seeing the glide slope, and that is what I'm a bit confused about. The glide slope is supposed to be showing here. I don't know if we have to turn on the VOR. Let's see if that will work. Let's tune the navigation 1 and navigation 2. I'm going to recalibrate this and I'll just land manually.
Sync rate 500.
Alright, so guys, earlier on, the flight actually had a lot of bugs. So I had to do a manual landing on this particular tutorial. Explain we actually have to fix a lot of things for this aircraft. First, the engine starts, and now the approach system. Now there was a lot of bugs for this approach. I had to come back to this point again and continue recording. If you turn on the approach button, it will go off. So there is obviously no need to use the approach. We're just going to try and see if we can manage our speed. Let's see. Okay, since we can't do that as well, let's just use our speed manually and land the aircraft on the runway. Sorry guys, this aircraft has a lot of bugs. When we turned to the runway, um, the autopilot was not doing what it was supposed to do, and that's because when we turned on the approach button, it was going off. So I don't know exactly how to fix that. I think it has to be fixed by Explain Mobile, and hopefully they'll do that in the future. So, but at least you've learned exactly how to take off, how to do your code on that startup, and how to take off from any airport to any airport. Now, for landing, you might have to, at the moment, you might have to do a manual landing. When you approach your runway, when you align with your runway, you might have to do a manual landing for this particular aircraft. As you can see, guys, I'm currently doing manual landing. I'm currently landing manually. The tilting for airplane is not very stable, so the landing might just be rough. Alright guys, we had to do a manual landing for the aircraft because we had a bug with the approach. I don't know if that's something that happens normally, because I actually tried this several times and it kept on bugging. When you turn on the approach mode, it will go off. So I had to get back to this point again and record and land manually. So just make sure you follow the procedures from the code and dark startup to the takeoff to the cruise. When you get to your destination and you align with the runway, you might have to land manually, guys, because the aircraft in this sim is not I think it's not fully modeled the way it's supposed to be. It's not fully modeled, so we have to do a manual approach, a manual landing. All right, we're going to taxi to our gates, and then we're going to shut down the aircraft. All right, guys, thanks for watching this tutorial. Currently we don't have currently the 737 in Explain Mobile. You can actually land with the autopilot, but then it has a lot of bugs. Most times if you turn on the approach button, it will go off, and that's because it's bugging. So we hope that they are going to fix these bugs in the future, and then we'll be able to have a smoother ILS approach. Thanks for watching, guys. If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and see you in the next tutorial.